Okay, today we are going to do a crayon resist. So we are going to start by drawing the outline first, and then we'll go back and draw the patterns in crayon and then cover it, and then we'll take the paint last. And this is some kind of what it's going to look like when we're done. So I am going to start by teaching you how to draw this picture. So we're going to start with our paper horizontal on the page. And with your marker or your pencil, you are going to draw your middle line, and you're going to want to have it be like rolling hills. So we're going to go up and down. And I'm using watercolor paper so that when we watercolor over the crayon later, it doesn't make holes in the paper. And then we're going to do another little hill inside. And then we're just going to draw lines from all the way from the edge of the paper up to that line. Kind of like rays on a sun like we did on the other picture. And you want them to be kind of wide, not super skinny, so don't do like 20. Otherwise it's going to take you forever. And then these ones I'm going to just do kind of not the same direction. We want them to go to different directions. Then I'm going to draw a little barn on top of my hill. That's a tower. And then a house, so we need a rectangle. And then we're going to draw a triangle roof all the way down. And then this is parallel to this line. And then we turn this into a rectangle. That's the roof. And I'm going to put stripes on that too. And then I'm going to draw little windows in rows. So it's like 2 stories. And a barn door. And I'm going to put an X on it so that we know that that's the door. And a round window in the front. Then in the corner, I'm going to move this just a little bit. I'm going to draw a sun, so it's just going to be a curved line. And then I'm going to do the rays that come out like this, triangles. And then I'm going to do stripes on my sun, so I am going to do lines that curve in like that. Okay, then we're going to put trees. Now I have 3 trees, but if you want more, you can do more. So I'm going to start here and draw the trunk first, and then a circle. And I am going to have my trees overlap, so I'm not going to close it here because the next tree is going to go like this, and a trunk that goes like this, and this one's going to overlap as well. Circle goes in and all the way around like that. Trunk. The trunks have to go all the way down to the ground. Okay, and then I'm going to draw patterns inside my trees. So this one's going to have like regular branches. And they go like this. Now, I'm doing this kind of fast because I don't want the video to be too long, and I want to spend more time coloring than I do drawing. And then I'm going to put circles on here in the spaces, and I'll show you why once we get all that done. Now this one's going to have swirls. And stripes on the trunk. And this one's going to have okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the crayons and we're going to draw patterns in each of the sections. So I'm going to do polka dots in one. And I might do the circles in here the same color like they're rolling down the hill. And I might do bark on this one. So I just want to do some lines. And when I do Crayon Resist, I want to push kind of hard. Now, we don't need to color it all in because we're going to paint over it. And we want some of it to be crayon and some of it to be paint. So if you color the whole thing in, it's not gonna show up. And the next one, I'm gonna do light. Actually, I'm gonna do even lighter green than that. And I'm gonna do my swirls, and I'm gonna push pretty hard. And I don't know if you guys can see this, but you need to push pretty hard because when we put the paint on, and we want it to not be on the swirl. And I'm gonna take my, not that color, here we go. I'm gonna do one. I'll just do the outside edge here. Okay, and the next one, I'm gonna do purple. Oh, that's kind of blue, it's dark blue, just go like that. Okay, and I'm just gonna do stripes in this orange and leave white in between because we want to leave some space for the color to shine through. And this, make as bright colors as you want because we're just gonna paint over it with do some checkered squares. And remember, you gotta push hard. If it's not dark crayon, and you gotta fill in the space that you want the color, otherwise it won't, the paint will just cover it all up. Okay, we're gonna do your hand might get tired if you push too hard, but you gotta push hard in order to have it thick enough. I'm gonna make these a little thicker. And you can do whatever patterns, kind of like we did on the other sphere one, but we're using color this time, not just black and white. And I am okay, I'm gonna do this, no. Okay, this one I'm gonna do like weird shapes here. Ooh, that's a metallic one. I'm going to go back and make sure that those are colored in pretty good. Okay. I'm gonna make, I'm gonna go like this. Okay. I'm going to do stripes the other way. Okay, and then I am going to do some tiny dash, circle, dash, circle, dash, circle, dash, circle. Dash is on the other side. And then when we get to the next line, it and then dash, 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 dash. Line here. Dash, 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 dash. Circle, circle, circle. Okay, make sure you press hard on those because otherwise it won't show up when you paint over it. Okay, I am also going to do some big polka dots and big polka dots all over. Yep, color that in. Okay. Now, I am going to do like this and then hash back the other way, leaving it white in between because that's where the paint's going to go. Okay. And some weavy one. We're going to go and we're going to put circles in here, polka dots in there. And then stripes this way. Okay. I'm gonna do yellow stripe. Okay. I'm gonna color in the windows with my yellow. And a red for the door. And this. All right. Let's do a blue roof. Oh, let's get a darker blue than that. Okay, now we're going to take our watercolor now, and this is the resist part. So you want to make sure you've painted pretty dark. We'll start with the, you've used the crayon and pushed really, and then we paint over it carefully with our paintbrush and our color, and it doesn't stick where the crayon is. And it fills in all the white spaces. Okay, now because I painted this trunk, I'm not going to paint the background of that yet. So I'm going to switch to an orange, and I'll paint this. Oh, I probably should have picked a lighter orange, but that's all right. Okay. And blue. Okay. Now I'm going to go over these, but I want to pick opposite colors. So I don't want to pick a color that's the same as this color that I drew the polka dots with. So I'm going to pick a contrasting color, which would be, let's do green. That way those really show up. And I'm going to skip this one so that the colors don't bleed together. And I'm going to paint this one purple, because then the yellow will really show up. Now, when you do this, it doesn't really matter what colors you use. You can pick whatever colors you want to make your own pattern. And pick orange. And then I'm going to skip this one and go to now I'm trying not to touch the same colors to the same sections, and I have a pretty big paint palette here, but if you don't, then that's okay too. And you can just use a different, more paint gets you a darker color. So if you want to do some light and some dark, and if you have a light color, when you pick a darker color to paint over it, you actually see the crayon better. So if you used a light color to color with your crayon, then, and you paint a light color over it, you may or may not see it as well. So that's a good color right there. And I'm trying not to make the colors bleed together, but if they do, that's all right too. But once you have your pattern on here, you can pretty much paint it whatever color you want. I'm going to do, let's see, can I do that color? See how my purple bled in here because this was still wet when I painted it. So if you don't want that to happen, then you need to wait for these to dry in between. Otherwise the color goes right in there. But I don't know, I kind of like that. So I'm going to leave it the way it is. If you don't like it, you can always just use plain water and I'll show you how to do that. If you don't like that, you can just take your brush and take plain water and push it around back over there because that kind of got muddy. You can take a paper towel and dab it up, and then I can add some more orange on that. And cover that up. Okay, now I'm going to go back and do this tree, and I'm going to use my light green. So I'm just paint right over the crayon. Now I'm not going to paint over the brown, so I'm going to try to paint these little spaces in between, but you can paint right over the crayon. I'm just going to do the tops of the tree. And then I'm going to paint the other tree. And because this is your own painting, you don't have to follow nature's colors. Although there are some trees, if you look around, that have purple flowers on them right now. And they will later get green leaves, but the flowers are purple. And I'm going to paint over here where the sun is. Do 2 orange stripes. And then I'm going to go back with red. For my sun. Now I'm going to paint my barn red as well. going to do a darker purple roof because I want, when I paint the sky, to be able to see it. Okay, I can go back and do this one now. Now, you may want to slow this down or turn this off while you're painting yours, because you can decide to do whatever color you want. Now, when I go back and do my sky, I'm going to paint the edges here carefully. And if it's wet, you're going to have some of the colors bleed out. So you might want to wait until your sun is dry and your trees are dry before you do this part. And you do not have to do this all at one time. So maybe one day you draw and do all your patterns with the crayons, and then later you go back and paint over it. Or you paint part of it until it, and then when it dries, you paint another part of it, because you need to let the paint dry if you don't want it all to bleed together. And I'm just doing it all at one time so that you have the video and not, you have to go back to 4 videos. Okay, so, and I'm going to cover up all the white. And I'm being very careful not to paint the blue onto any of my other colors here. Okay, now I have to keep my painting under the camera so that you guys can see it, but you can turn your painting however you want. So when you're painting, you don't have to just do it all in one direction. You can turn your picture. Okay, now I'm going to just do the very top, and then we will be done with our Crayon Resist. Here we go. Looks great. And I'm sure yours looks great too. So this is where you get to be as creative as you want. And look at that. Beautiful. All right. That's all for today. Tune in next week.